seemed to me as an outsider the well-oiled machine that allowed students to protest, get arrested, get out of jail. I mean, who came up with the procedure? Why was it so smooth? And I mean, it almost seemed like a miracle. I mean, it really did. And you talk to the students even now, they go, we don't know who paid our bail. Who were some of the people that plugged money into the system to keep it working?
The Uncle Toms.
Tell me some names of those.
I'm not going to call anybody by name.
Well,
as
they
Uncle
most of them
Tom.
were gone.
Well, even if they're gone, they have heirs, and the thing is that they put up their property, and they risked everything they had.
Well, can I jump in real quick? How can you kind of answer, because when people come up to the marker, they're not going to have the benefit of Marty having asked.
Remember, you don't hear the sound of my voice.
Right.
Okay.
So when you answer, can you answer in a way that says, well, the people who paid the bail put up their own property?
Right.
The people who support, like almost like restating her question
Right.
back in your answer.
Okay.
And also maybe not call them Uncle Tom so that you
No, I mean, that's
just say
okay.
they're conservative and might be called Uncle Tom.
No, I don't want to say that because the people were, a lot of people were
No,
considered.
I mean, that part's okay.
Well,
but
you
most
should
people
say
be
they were
straight.
considered Uncle Toms. You should explain that.
Well,
Let him speak the way he wants to speak. I mean, this is his interview.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
well, just for the benefit of the people who have.
Yeah,
Right,
so just
right,
restate
right,
that.
right.
You'll give me a
And-
complete sentence.
well, in terms of the people who put up the bail, many people would refer to those people or would consider them Uncle Toms. But look at the risk that they are taking, putting up that bail, which is property they own, sometimes of the homes in which they live, and they're putting up their property to secure the appearance of a person they don't even know and perhaps have never seen and will never see. So they've made a tremendous contribution to the civil rights movement. Some of the people who put up bail were people like Q.B. Williamson, who was a member of the city council and a realtor. Mr. Tibbs, who ran the pharmacy at the on 100th Street, up the street from our office. I forget the name of the lady across the street who ran the who ran the shoe shop. Put up bail. Occasionally, in some cases, you may get someone at the Pasco Brothers to put up bail. Sometimes it would just be someone who had a house that was clear and free would put up their bail for the benefit of the civil rights movement. And the reason why it seemed to be smooth is because the people weren't reluctant to do so. It was known that they would put up that bail, and you could go to them, and they would step forward. Another person who was very prominent, who put up bail, I forgot to mention, is the late Herman Russell. Herman at that time was a millionaire because he was examined in court, and his net worth was in excess of $1 million at that time. He would often put up bail. So it was people who had something to lose who put up bail, and some people who had less who put up bail. And a lot of times it worked through people who were friendly to the movement, sometimes through the NAACP, sometimes through Ruby Hurley, who was a regional field secretary for the NAACP. Her office was on the same floor as our office was, 859.5 Hunter Street, Well, with people like that. Sometimes it would be ministers in the community, like Minister Samuel Williamson, sometimes Reverend William Holmes Borders, just people, who wanted to help out.
You basically could call that like the first crowdfunding.
Probably you could. I mean, I got your point,
Yeah. Let's talk about, we've got the case of the Heart of Atlanta Motel, the Pickwick restaurant. We've got talking about the Reedsville case with Martin Luther King. But when people say the civil rights movement or the Atlanta student movement, there were phases to that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, you know, I was in Boston from when the civil rights movement really erupted in the 60s. I graduated from law school in 1960. And from 1961 until 1962, I had a clerkship with a federal judge in Boston. So I was not involved in the early stages of the civil rights movement. I came back in 1962, and I was admitted to the Georgia bar in July of 1962. The first significant case in which I was involved was the Peyton Road case, in which the city of Atlanta passed an ordinance to build barricades across Peyton Road and Holland Road to keep African Americans from moving into the community. Dr. Clinton Warner, he was a surgeon here in Atlanta who recently passed, bought a home in the area. And once this black surgeon bought a home in the area, the whites were fearful that other blacks would move in. And so the response to that was to build this barricade. And they were in such a hurry to build the barricade, they went out and they built the barricade in the wrong direction. And in part, that was the reason that a Superior Court judge here in Fulton County declared that the ordinance directing erection of the barricade was unconstitutional or illegal. And there was worldwide condemnation of Atlanta, the city that was too busy to hate. You know, you're building barricades to keep people from moving into communities. And eventually, African Americans did move into those communities, and the whites moved out. And I remember one white lady who lived near Dr. Warner, who was a witness in the case, and she testified, and it was kind of humorous in a way. And she said, "They're treating us like niggers."
When we talk about these situations, the people, the memories, what are the emotions that come to mind? There had to be some fear. There had to be a lot of anger. And I know you were tired.
Well, let's see. I don't remember being tired. It was something about the movement that energized you. You might need sleep or some food or something like that, but being tired was out of the question, okay? There was a lot of anger, but the anger was creative anger, that the madder you got, the more creative you became, the more committed you became to have a successful outcome. And I forget the other part of your question.
Well, I said tired, mad, angry, but basically the whole emotions. When you look back at it from the perspective of years, what do you see in the person you were that helped make you the person that you are now?
Well, I really don't know how to answer that. The only thing I can say, I hated segregation, okay? And